Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a really fascinating set of personal accounts and observations. They're centered around two truly captivating individuals, Rose, who's an aspiring novelist, and Lupinia, this mysterious bard figure.
Yeah.
You've sent us some incredible insights into their intertwined lives, especially from the past few weeks. And, well, we're about to explore the surprising depths of their story.
Hmm.
And I think at the heart of this deep dive are some really fundamental questions, about how people create, the unexpected connections that form between them, and the secrets they keep, even from people they really care about.
Right. What's so fascinating here, I think, is how these narratives, these accounts, they just weave together. It's not just about their personal journeys, so those are compelling enough. It really gets into these profound questions about identity, about creativity, and maybe even the very fabric of reality within a story. So we'll be trying to connect those threads, understand not just what happened, but why it matters, how it changes how we perceive relationships or the creative process itself, even authorship. It's all about these blurring boundaries.
Definitely. And for those of you just joining us, or maybe just needing a quick refresher before we jump into the really intense later weeks, weeks 1 through 3 laid some really crucial groundwork for what happens with Rose and Lou.
Right, the setup.
Yeah, the setup. We first met Rose, this aspiring novelist, really grappling with her character. She's trying to write this novel, and get this, it combines radical feminism with bodice-ripping romance.
Which already tells you a lot, doesn't it?
It really does. It speaks volumes about the kind of vibrant, maybe sometimes chaotic world inside her head. And her main character, Juliet, well, she seems to have a mind of her own right from the start. Very challenging, very independent.
And then there's Lupinia, or Lou, the
Yeah.
bard. But she's got this almost uncanny, hidden protective streak. At first, she was just secretly watching over Rose, like leaving her little gifts, apples, vitamins.
Yeah, I remember that. So sweet, but mysterious.
Totally. And she even saved Rose from a bear attack, and Rose had no idea who did it.
Yeah.
This early period, it establishes this really interesting dynamic. You've got Rose's creative struggles, her longing for romance and maybe a deeper connection. And then Lou's quiet devotion, her mysterious abilities. We saw her initial secret care, watching Rose on her daily walks to her grandmother's house, always from the shadows, making sure she was safe.
That quiet observation, though, it built up to this really dramatic moment, didn't it? A pivotal moment where Lou finally revealed herself.
Oh, absolutely. The wolf attack.
Yeah, she saved Rose from a wolf attack, and it was raw, it was visceral, it clearly affected both of them really deeply. Rose hurt her knee badly,
Right.
and Lou just, without a second thought, carried her home. That act, that courage and care, it really cemented their connection, didn't it? Pulled them out of the shadows, opened a whole new chapter.
It absolutely did it. It set the stage perfectly for the escalating intensity and the really quite astonishing revelations we see unfold in weeks 4 through 6.
Which is where we're really focusing today.
Exactly. That's our mission today. Go deep into those crucial weeks 4 through 6. Their worlds collide even more explicitly and honestly in some truly unexpected ways. We'll explore the deepening bond between them, the shocking truths about Lou's hidden nature.
Which is a big one.
A huge one.
Yeah.
And also the mind-bending reality of Rose's creative process, especially when her characters start, well, taking on a life of their own.
It just raises so many fascinating questions, this whole period. Like, how do relationships even evolve when these profound, almost unbelievable secrets get revealed?
Right.
And what does it mean when the boundaries between, say, an author and her character, or even between what we think of as reality and fiction, start to blur so dramatically?
That's the core of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll be looking for those aha moments, the things that make you just stop and rethink what's possible, even within a narrative framework, and what that might mean for our own understanding of, well, creation and connection.
Okay, so with that framework in mind, let's dive headfirst into Section 1, the author's domain. This is all about Rose, her character Juliet, and the power dynamics of creation. This is where Rose's whole understanding of her novel, and maybe even her own mind, gets completely turned upside down, especially in weeks 4 and 6.
Yeah, what's really fascinating here is watching how Rose, who is, the creator of these worlds, these people, she's constantly being challenged by them. It becomes clear pretty quickly that her creative process isn't this like one-way street where she has absolute control. It's much more dynamic, often really surprising, and honestly, incredibly intimate. It's an interaction where her characters actually push back, they develop their own paths.
Exactly, and we see this right away in week 4. Rose finds herself confronting Juliet about a promise. Rose, as the author, she's genuinely worried that Juliet might have ravished her love interest off page.
Right, meaning outside the bits she's actively writing.
Yeah. And her concern is kind of sweet in a way. She wants to be there for those big romantic moments in her story. But as we find out pretty fast, Juliet is a character who just subverts all of Rose's initial expectations in a really delightful way, actually.
And this is such a crucial moment for understanding character autonomy, I think. Juliet immediately clarifies. She says, with this sort of knowing look, I can honestly say that no man has ever touched me.
Boom.
Right. It directly addresses Rose's worry, but it also cleverly sets up the real revelation. It really highlights Rose's underlying assumption that Juliet's love interest had to be a man. Specifically Damon, right? The perfect rake character Rose, originally planned as the hero for her bodice ripper, is Rose's own bias kind of built into the premise of her book, being challenged directly by her character.
And Rose totally jumps to conclusions, doesn't she? Her mind just races. She's picturing Juliet with, like, that pig farmer, or worse, old MacDonald, who she describes as this 80-year-old pervert from her world.
Oh, gosh. You can practically hear her inner monologue just screaming, no, not him. Her protective instincts just kick right in. She tells Juliet, you are the sister I never had. I love you and I want you to be happy. She even threatens, kind of half-jokingly, to write old MacDonald out of the story with a sudden heart attack if he dared touch Juliet.
Protective author mode, full force.
Totally. But then, in this classic narrative twist, Juliet just drops the bombshell.
And the twist is, well, it's actually delightful, like you said, but more importantly, it fundamentally challenges Rose's entire creative framework. Juliet just calmly reveals her love interest is Ivy, but she goes by Ivy. Ivy, who turns out to be a barn hand and a milkmaid. And what's really telling about Rose, about her character, is her reaction. It shifts so fast from that initial shock and misjudgment because the idea of a female love interest clearly hadn't even crossed her mind. Right. Genuine surprise. And then to her own delight, this kind of blossoming acceptance, she says, Ivy. Yes, Ivy. Very pretty. Very pretty indeed. It really shows Rose's flexibility as a creator, doesn't it? Her growing acceptance of her characters having their own wills, their own capacity for self-determination. It's a beautiful moment of an author letting her characters lead, even when it's totally unexpected.
And Ivy's introduction is just so charming, it immediately makes her feel so real.
Yeah.
She's described as shy and polite, but her devotion to Juliet is just palpable. She says right away, I love Juliet very much and I'll do everything I can to make her happy. But then she adds this incredibly specific, vulnerable request for when they have their intimate scenes. She asks Rose, can I ask just a small favor, ma'am? When Juliet and I ravish each other for you, can I keep my slip on? I get embarrassed easily, ma'am, and I am a little bit shy.
That detail is just, it's absolutely vital, isn't it, for the depth of this story. It's not just about what happens on the page, but how it happens. It shows this deep respect for the character's comfort, for agency.
It immediately establishes Ivy as this distinct, fully formed personality. She's aware of her own desires, her vulnerabilities. She's not just, a plot device. She's a real individual within that story world. And that humanity, that detail, it leads directly into the next really mind-bending theme.
The unseen audience. This is where it gets really interesting and, frankly, a bit unsettling for Rose.
Yeah, understandably.
Just after Rose promises Ivy she'll never make her do anything uncomfortable, Ivy just casually drops an even bigger bomb. She reveals that she and Juliet, and presumably the other characters too, can always see Rose, the authoress.
Wow. Okay.
Ivy even mentions watching Rose's interactions, specifically saying, you should have seen how hot and bothered Juliet got this afternoon when that great giant of girl hugged you. I thought she'd ravish me on the spot.
Yeah.
She's talking about Lou hugging Rose in the forest.
Okay, hold on. That fundamentally changes the whole author-character dynamic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It goes from being totally one-sided to this bizarre interactive performance.
Yeah.
Rose's characters aren't just these figments she pulls out when she's writing. They're an active, observing audience. They're basically peering over her shoulder all the time, which has got to impact Rose's sense of privacy, her control.
Oh, totally. She exclaimed, hell yeah, it makes me self-conscious. She even, out of this sudden surge of paranoia and, frankly, disgust, she reinstates the heart attack for that old pervert, old MacDonald, because now she's terrified he might have been watching her take a bath.
Oh, my God. The implications for her creative process, her personal life, they're huge.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If the characters can observe their author, are they just constructs waiting to be written? Or do they have some kind of independent consciousness within Rose's mind, maybe even a shared reality? Juliet herself actually speculates about this. She offers this really profound theory. She says, I think you created Ivy for me, not consciously, like you wrote me out on the page, but maybe she was just a stray thought you didn't consider for long enough for her to wander in. She continues, you've seen our world, how rich and vibrant and full of people and buildings and things, but you didn't write all of those things into your book. I think they exist because you thought them for us, for me. That's not just a plot point, is it? It's a huge shift in how Rose, and maybe we, understand the whole creative act.
If we connect that to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
it suggests this truly fascinating, almost mystical relationship between a creator and their creation.
Yeah.
Like even unwritten bits, fleeting thoughts, the mere possibility of an idea, maybe that can manifest into fully realized sentient beings within that narrative space.
Right.
It completely challenges our traditional idea of authorship. It suggests this, like permeable membrane between imagination and reality. And it raises an important question. What responsibility does a creator have to their characters if those characters might be watching and reacting to their author's thoughts and actions, even the private ones?
Yeah, the ethical dimension.
Exactly. The ethical dimensions of creation, when the creations themselves gain some kind of sentience. It's mind-bending stuff.
Yeah. And this incredible, almost unnerving observation from the characters, it leads directly to Rose making some really significant authorial decisions. In week 6, we see her confront Juliet about Damon. Remember Damon, the guy Rose originally intended for Juliet.
The reg, yeah.
Juliet had hinted before about a secret love and her dislike of Damon, but now Rose gets the full, ugly truth directly from her character.
Right, and this is a clear exercise of authorial power. But it's crucial, like you said, that it's driven entirely by the character's input and this new disturbing information. Rose finds out that Damon is, in fact, a sexual predator.
It's awful.
And he apparently laughed and said it wasn't the first time he'd been accused of sexual assault and it wouldn't be the last. It's just chilling. It completely shatters Rose's initial romanticized view of him, forces her to confront this grim reality within her own fictional world.
Absolutely. Rose is just utterly disgusted. She hears Damon himself make these crude, judgmental remarks about Juliet and Ivy's relationship, basically condemning them. He snarls, just chasing this maid because of that unnatural woman, carrying on like a tribaid with the other cow from the barn. They disgust you, don't they, Damon?
Yeah.
And his confirmation is just chilling. Yes, they do, authoress. They disgust me. It's just this stark moment of pure villainy. So Rose, with this swift, decisive, and wonderfully ironic hand, she just writes him out completely.
Wow.
She tells him, effectively, you're so disgusted by their perverted behavior, you're becoming a Trappist so that you can spend the rest of your life praying for their souls.
Oh, that's brilliant.
With any luck, you and I will save their dirty, disgusting souls. Damon, thank you so much for your help. Goodbye. Enjoy your trip to Lulworth Abbey, and do pray for the girls. And poof, he's gone.
Wow. That scene just vividly shows Rose's growth, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Her huge shift in perspective on what makes a hero or a desirable partner.
Right.
She's not just imposing her will blindly. She's responding to the moral reality her characters are presenting.
Right.
And the developing more inclusive themes of her own novel. It really highlights how an author has to reconcile their initial vision with these emerging truths from the characters, especially when those truths are morally repugnant. It underlines how deeply personal, how ethically charged the creative process can be, particularly when the characters feel this real, this vocal.
Yeah.
Rose is taking a stand against the very archetypes she maybe started with, choosing character well-being and moral integrity over, narrative convenience.
Okay, so from that authorial domain, the shifting power dynamics, the character's surprising independence, let's shift focus now to Section 2, the Protector's Secret. This is all about Lou and his hidden nature. And this unfolds primarily in weeks 4 and 5, where we really start piecing together the profound mystery around Lupinia.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here is how the narrative, so carefully, so slowly, builds the suspense around Lou's true identity. It uses these subtle clues, shared experiences, and Rose's deepening concern as the engine driving it forward. It's really a masterclass in revealing a secret, letting the listener kind of draw their own conclusions before the full truth just smacks them in the face.
It starts with Lou mentioning this peculiar monthly obligation, right? Something she just can't get out of. And this obligation mysteriously lines up with her suddenly feeling heated, like this growing warmth she can't seem to control, which then makes her just dart off into the woods, the deep, darkening woods at dusk. Rose notes it. She's worried. She was so hot. I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
And Lou herself says, with this hint of resignation, It's just one night a month I have an obligation I can't get out of. It immediately sets up this central mystery for Rose and for us. What kind of obligation makes someone ditch their friend and rush into a wolf-infested forest as night falls? The implications are already pretty unsettling.
And that heated sensation, it's such a crucial, maybe understated clue at first. It's a precise physiological marker, right? A telltale sign hinting at some kind of impending transformation or at least a major physical change. It's a very specific detail that, when you look back, points directly to her true nature.
Yeah.
This initial observation builds immediate suspense, makes you intensely curious about what this monthly ritual could possibly be and why Lou was so secretive about it. You're leaning forward, wondering what's really going on.
And Rose, being Rose, always curious, fiercely loyal. She doesn't just let it go. She's worried about Lou's apparent illness or distress. So she makes this brave, maybe slightly foolhardy decision to follow her into the darkening, treacherous woods, even though she admits she has no tracking skills whatsoever.
Right.
She reasons with herself, remembering Lou saving her before. She saved me, so maybe it's time to repay the favor. It really highlights her bravery, her growing loyalty, her deepening concern for Lou. She's willing to put herself in danger for this person she cares about, even if she doesn't fully grasp the peril she's stepping into.
And this dangerous pursuit, it also wonderfully underscores that permeable boundary again between Rose's reality and her novel's world. Because, faced with her lack of tracking skills, what does she do?
She asks Juliet for help.
Exactly. She intuitively asks Juliet, and Juliet just effortlessly manifests Jareth the Forester, a character from Rose's own imagination, to guide her through the woods.
It's wild.
Jareth's sudden appearance just demonstrates the character's incredible ability to interact directly with Rose's perceived reality, blurring those lines even further. And Jareth, completely unknowingly to Rose at the time, actually refers to Lou as Rose's lover.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
He says, with that knowing gruffness, I wouldn't be searching a dark forest for just a friend, ma'am. She'd have me a lover or a wife to get me out of bed into a wolf-infested forest, ma'am.
That's a hugely significant so what moment for the listener, isn't it? It confirms the romantic subtext between them, even before they acknowledge it themselves. It's like this external validation of an internal truth. Okay, so this intense, almost desperate chase through the woods, it builds the tension to this almost unbearable level. Right before the truly shocking revelation in the clearing, Rose, guided by Jareth's instincts, she stumbles into this hidden clearing deep in the woods, and there she discovers this monstrous, terrifying sight, a massive tamed wolf. It's described in chilling detail as the largest wolf I've ever seen, and it's chained to that tree. The scene is already terrifying, but then it escalates violently. Rose is suddenly attacked by a ferocious pack of wild wolves.
And this is it. This is the deep dive's absolute central aha moment. Rose, remembering Jareth's advice, desperately tries to hit the biggest wolf in the pack. They are almost always the alpha.
All right, try scare.
If she can hurt the alpha, the whole pack may run away. But before she can really do anything effective, the monstrous chained wolf, with this sudden, incredible burst of strength, breaks free from its chains and brutally intervenes.
It's incredible.
The scene is just visceral, terrifying. It demonstrates Lou's hidden power, her protective instinct in its rawest, most savage form. The description is graphic, leaving no doubt about the ferocity. The chained wolf had the alpha's neck between massive jaws. It shook those jaws back and forth maybe 2 or 3 times before the alpha's throat ripped open, gushing blood and flesh all over me.
Oh, God.
Rose, totally, understandably overwhelmed by the horror, the sheer brutality of the rescue, she just faints.
Yeah.
Right there.
And the implication is now crystal clear, isn't it? Even if Rose herself doesn't immediately process it in her shock. The monstrous chained wolf is Lupenia.
Yeah.
This dramatic, terrifying event, it fundamentally alters Rose's perception of Lou. Even if she doesn't grasp the full supernatural reality right away, it irrevocably shifts Lou from just being a protective friend to something far more powerful, mysterious, and maybe dangerously elemental. It binds them in a way that simple friendship never could.
And this leads directly to Lou's really enigmatic denial, doesn't it? And her continued unwavering protection. Red wakes up the next morning, not in the clearing, but she's in Lou's careful custody. Lou, back in human form, is meticulously cleaning the blood off Rose, tending to her.
Like nothing happened.
Exactly. Lou acts as if nothing unusual happened at all, steadfastly denies any knowledge of a chained wolf. She tells Rose, with this stern but obviously caring tone, "There's no sign of a wolf when I found you, drenched in blood. I thought you were dead. Don't ever do something like this again, all right?"
Wow. That denial, it raises so many crucial, complex questions like, Why does Lou deny it? Is she trying to protect Rose from this terrifying, maybe incomprehensible truth of what she is?
Or protecting herself.
Protecting herself, yeah.
Right.
From the burden of revealing such a huge secret, maybe fearing Rose's reaction, her fear. Her scolding, though, despite the lie, it actually reveals the depth of her protective instincts, doesn't it? It echoes what she said earlier during the first wolf attack. I couldn't stand it if I lost you. Mm-hmm.
It's a powerful moment of care, even wrapped up in deception. It really highlights the complexities of their bond.
Yeah.
It speaks profoundly to the immense burden of having a secret identity like that, and the inherent challenges of trust when such a fundamental truth is being withheld. Lou's denial, while technically a lie, is perhaps her attempt to just maintain some semblance of normalcy, to protect the fragile connection they're building.
Maybe.
But despite the denial, the event clearly binds them closer. It creates this shared, unspoken trauma, this profound understanding that deepens their relationship, and Lou's continued, unwavering care in the aftermath. It sets the stage perfectly for exploring their developing romantic relationship, which, after this, really can't be ignored anymore.
Right. This powerful, life-altering experience brings us seamlessly into Section 3, a budding connection. Rose and Lou's developing relationship, which we see explored primarily in weeks 5 and 6. After that terrifying night in the forest, and despite the huge unspoken truth hanging between them, their bond deepens significantly. It moves beyond just friendship into something undeniably romantic.
And what's really fascinating here is watching that delicate dance between their increasingly obvious unspoken desires and the very real fears and insecurities holding them back from, taking that final step, which is especially poignant given Lou's massive, life-altering secret just looming over everything.
In week 5, we see them spend this entire absolutely delightful day together at the Midsummer Festival. They're doing all sorts of things, making flower crowns, sharing food, laughing, dancing together. Lou even performs, sings these incredible songs from the histories, and also the new one Rose helped her write. That must have been a deeply personal moment.
Oh, for sure.
It's a day of just genuine connection, shared joy, undeniable intimacy. Then, at the end of the night, they walk home. Lou walks Rose to her door. And this is where the core romantic tension just builds to a fever pitch.
Yeah. Lou hugs Rose tight and close and whispered, "Please don't ever go out in those woods at night again."
Still protective.
Always protective. And she looked me right in the eyes and said, "I couldn't stand it if I lost you." This heartfelt admission, this fear for Rose's safety, it's incredibly intimate. It's a clear expression of deep affection, vulnerability. And Rose, she notes the moment's gravity. I thought for a second she was going to kiss me as she stared long at my lips, but she just hugged me so tight.
Oh, the tension.
It's palpable, isn't it? Both seem to want that kiss, but hesitation, this profound uncertainty just prevails. The unspoken fears, the deep secret Lou holds, Rose's own confusion about her feelings. It all prevents them from acting on this obvious magnetic attraction.
And this hesitation, this missed opportunity, it leads to some incredibly insightful internal monologues from both of them. After the festival, both Rose and Lou are privately reflecting on that non-kiss, on their feelings. Rose is confused and so tired, just grappling with the emotional weight of it all. She openly admits, "I'd hate to lose her as a friend," acknowledging the high stakes, right, of potentially moving beyond their current dynamic. She's grappling with that shift from comfortable friendship to something possibly more, and she's unsure if she's truly okay with it, questioning her own feelings, her readiness.
And Lou's internal monologue is maybe even more poignant, more revealing. It shows the profound depth of her feelings, but also her significant insecurities, which is striking given her inherent strength, her formidable power. She questions her own weakness, a struggle that directly contradicts how she sees herself as an alpha.
Right.
She laments, "I'm supposed to be the alpha. Why am I so weak when it comes down to kissing this girl? I've had feelings for her for so long. I'm terrified that I'll scare her away, and what we have now will be gone." This is just crucial for understanding their individual perspectives, the profound complexity of their mutual attraction. It highlights the immense vulnerability, the emotional risks involved in taking a relationship to the next level, especially when one person, Lou, is harboring such a profound, life-altering secret.
If we connect that to the bigger picture, it beautifully illustrates such a common human experience, doesn't it? That pervasive fear of vulnerability, of potential loss, even when desire is incredibly strong, even when it's mutual. It's that universal question of taking that terrifying but exhilarating leap of faith in a relationship.
Yeah.
Rose worries about losing a cherished friend. Lou fears scaring away the person she deeply cares for, specifically because of who she truly is. It really raises an important question for all of us, I think. In any deep relationship, how do you navigate those unspoken desires, those fears of the other person, especially when one or both might be holding on to a significant secret or a deep insecurity?
hmm And this internal conflict, this mutual hesitation, it relates directly to the advice Rose gets from Juliet, who is, not hesitating at all anymore.
Not at all. Juliet, who has just found her own passionate love with Ivy and is much more open, uninhibited about her desires, she naturally steps into this role of Rose's confidant. And she pushes Rose to take risks in her own romantic life, kind of mirroring how Rose tried to push Juliet earlier.
Right. The tables have turned.
Exactly. Juliet, fresh from her own romance with this newfound boldness, she's incredibly frank with Rose. Tells her straight up, like last night when Lou was staring at your lips, you should have kissed her.
Just like that.
Just like that. Not some deep, passionate kiss, just a nice, soft kiss on the lips to let her know that you're open to that kind of thing, if you're open to that kind of thing. Her advice is practical, right?
Yeah.
Encouraging a gentle signal, not some overwhelming gesture.
Yeah, it's good advice.
And Juliet's own vivid description of her desires for Ivy, wanting to be ravished naked in the barnyard for everyone to see, wanting Rose to write about it because just thinking about it makes her want to explode. It provides this stark, kind of humorous contrast to Rose and Lou's hesitation.
It really does.
It's this playful but firm push, maybe urging Rose out of her comfort zone. She playfully warns her not to die unravished, as Juliet puts it.
Juliet's candor, her enthusiasm, it really serves as a powerful catalyst, doesn't it? Her bold articulation of her own desires implicitly suggests that holding back, like Rose initially considered for Juliet's story, might just lead to regret. This conversation makes that theme of taking calculated risks in relationships incredibly prominent.
Yeah.
It brings Rose face to face with her own romantic timidity and subtly prepares her for the next big step in her relationship with Lou, which is a shared journey.
And this conversation, this nudge from Juliet, it seems to push Rose and Lou towards something tangible, a shared future. Back in week 4, actually, Rose proposes a trip to Wildwood. Her practical goal is to get her novel published. She asks Lou, "Do you think you could take a week off from the tavern and take a walk with me to Wildwood?" She mentions the wizard Thistlewick Brightspark, who owns a bookshop there.
Right.
She wants to bring him her novel, asks him if he'd publish it.
And Lou, of course, eagerly agrees. But what's really significant is how she immediately frames it.
Yeah.
It's more than just a business trip for her. She explicitly asks, "I'd love to go. It's a date. When is the date?"
Yeah, she calls it a date.
Calling it a date. This trip symbolizes a monumental step forward for their relationship. It's a shared goal, a journey together into the unknown, and a powerful opportunity for them to spend concentrated time together, deepen their connection away from the everyday routine. Closer to new revelations, maybe, potential intimacy. They even discuss the practicalities, needing a tent, setting a pace, anticipating a 2 to 3 day walk. It's a conscious, deliberate move to explore their bond further, beyond the familiar confines of tranquility. It really indicates a serious commitment to each other.
Okay, so transitioning from those intense personal dramas, the romantic complexities of Rose and Lou, let's take a brief look now at Section 4, the world of tranquility beyond the main duo. This is just a quick but, I think, enriching look at some supporting characters and the fascinating world they live in, drawing details mainly from week 6.
Yeah, and what's great here is how these characters, even with relatively brief appearances, manage to enrich the narrative so much. They offer these different perspectives on life, love, purpose. They add layers of depth, realism, even humor to Rose and Lou's very intense personal story. They make the world feel really lived in, really vibrant.
First up, we just briefly touched back on Jareth the Forester. We met him when Rose was desperately chasing Lou into the woods.
Right.
Jareth, true to his pragmatic nature, not only helps Rose in that dangerous pursuit, but also offers some wonderfully straightforward, almost cynical advice during the wolf attack. His comments hint at this more grounded, maybe world-weary view of relationships and the lengths people go to for each other.
Yeah, his brief but incredibly impactful lines like that gruff observation to Rose, "I wouldn't be searching a dark forest for just a friend, ma'am. She'd be a lover or a wife to get me out of bed into a wolf-infested forest, ma'am."
Yeah.
It just perfectly demonstrates his common sense, his willingness to challenge Rose's stated intentions. He subtly highlights the obvious romantic undertones of what Rose is doing, even the bits she isn't ready to acknowledge herself. He provides that outside, more conventional perspective on their budding relationship, maybe reflecting the local, rustic understanding of deep affection.
Mhm.
What's also interesting is his willingness to help, despite that cynical outlook, suggests maybe a deeper kindness under the pragmatic exterior.
And then there's Mastat Mindguard, the truly unexpected bard.
Oh, Messat. Yeah.
We meet him during this chaotic scene at the Black Dog Tavern. There's a fight erupting over the mythical stone of the hapless. And amidst the brawl, Mastat Mindguard, the stout dwarf bard, reveals his surprisingly shallow but deeply, deeply human reason for choosing his artistic profession.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here is the stark contrast, isn't it? Between the grand, heroic, often melancholic narratives, Lu sings as a bard tales of ancient heroes, profound emotion, and the very human, even delightfully humorous motivations of someone like Mastat. When some incredulous patron asks if becoming a bard was his childhood dream, Mastat is just brutally honest, almost comically so. He says, "No, lad, I got tired of guarding the mines.
Aww.
My dad sent me on my first guard job when I was 8. You just stand there all day, or sometimes the client wants you to march back and forth, back and forth. It's dead boring whether you're standing or marching.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I did it for 30 years and just decided I'd have enough."
He literally just wanted a comfy chair. That's it. It's such a relatable, mundane desire that sparked this profound life change. He explains his epiphany. Taverns have everything I like: ale, beer, cider, food, and chairs. I was definitely getting a career where I didn't have to stand or walk. I wanted a chair.
Yeah.
He goes on to describe watching the tavern's resident bard, who was sitting, strumming his lute and singing. He had an ale and a basket of food. I must have watched him for 3 or 4 hours. They kept bringing him more ale, more food, and he just sat there strumming on that lute.
That's brilliant.
And Mastat concluded, with the simple wisdom of a man tired of standing, "It's been my dream ever since that night to be a bard, to sit and strum and drink me ale and eat for free."
You gotta love it. This segment, it provides such wonderful comic relief, and it demonstrates that even in a fantastical world, the most mundane desires can drive profound life changes. It brilliantly challenges that romanticized notion of a bard's calling, showing that simple, practical needs can underpin even complex artistic ambitions. It really raises an important question for us, doesn't it? What truly drives people to pursue their chosen paths? And how often do simple, maybe even humorous desires underpin complex ambitions, even if they aren't as dramatic as, say, protecting a loved one?
Yeah.
It's just a refreshing, lighthearted counterpoint to the intense personal dramas of Rose and Lou, showcasing the rich, surprising tapestry of life and tranquility.
So, okay, pulling it all together, what does this all mean for Rose and maybe for us as listeners? We've seen Rose navigate this astonishing reality of characters with independent wills, confronting challenging truths about her own creations, like accepting Juliet's beautiful love for Ivy and making tough, necessary decisions about problematic characters like Damon. And at the same time, she's grappling with these emerging truths and desires within herself.
Right. And we've seen Lupinia grapple with the immense burdens of her secret identity, revealing this fierce, almost primal protectiveness that transcends human form, even if she steadfastly denies the specifics of it to Rose. Their story really forces us to consider the fascinating interplay between creativity and self-discovery, the true nature of identity, and the surprising, often challenging ways relationships evolve when profound secrets come to light.
Mm-hmm.
The boundaries of reality itself seem to shift when we peek behind the curtain of an author's mind or delve into the hidden life of a trusted friend.
Rose and Lou's journey, it feels like it's truly just beginning, doesn't it? With this pivotal trip to Wildwood on the horizon. A journey that Lou is already calling a date. A clear step towards maybe fully acknowledging their feelings. But as we leave them on the cusp of this new adventure, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? If the characters in a story can be so real, so independent, even observe their creator, what might your own creations, whether they're stories you write, projects you pour your heart into, businesses you build, or even just ideas you foster, what might they be seeing and thinking about you?
That raises such an important question. When you pour your energy, your passion, your very essence into something, whether it's a novel or a business or even a deeply committed relationship, how much of yourself, consciously or unconsciously, becomes embedded within it, allowing it to take on a life of its own? And what might that creation know about you that you haven't even articulated to yourself? Observing you, perhaps, even when you think you're alone with your thoughts. It's definitely a profound thought to carry forward.
Keep those questions in mind as you continue your own deep dives into the world around you. We'll be back soon with more insights.